Would it be controversial to say that I think that remakes are a very, very good thing for the video game industry? Yeah, whether it be something like the Thousand Year Door remake, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, I think that remakes are a fantastic way to keep video games accessible for audiences. A remake allows for a company to be able to redo things that they didn't do right the first time, make something a little bit more polished, or generally even bring something old to a brand new audience with a new coat of paint. Video game remakes also allow for the opportunity to not have to go through the secondhand market. Could you imagine wanting to open up your new game of We Love Katamari and suddenly, oh god damn it, that's not Katamari? Unfortunately, for every Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, there also happens to be an equal and opposite Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition. Plants vs. Zombies Replanted is a Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition. Officially revealed on July 31st, 2025 in a Nintendo Direct, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted is, as you can imagine, a remake of the very first Plants vs. Zombies game. Naturally, a lot of people were very excited about this, but also very hesitant, on account of the fact that this is also the same PopCap owned by Electronic Arts, the company aiming to go AI first, because everybody loves generative AI! But it was reassured that no generative AI would be used in the final product of Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. The game eventually launched, and oh boy, was it a little bit of a, what's the word I would use for it? A fustercluck! Could you imagine for a moment being one of the poor suckers that decided to pre-order PvZ Replanted at $20 only to be greeted with such a mess of a game? Alright, let's get this show on the road. Let's just take a little bit of a step back and think about why Plants vs. Zombies Replanted even exists. With a lot of remakes, it could be an example of, say, the console it was originally on didn't sell well, like with Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. Many of the mechanics have gotten upgraded or changed over time, like with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Or in the case of Super Monkey Ball, it's something that the fans really, really wanted. As a result, many of these games were able to get remakes that saw varying levels of success, especially in regards to Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. Now, a remake doesn't have to visually change everything. A game can stay almost exactly the same. If we take a look at Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, visually it's almost exactly the same, as all the character sprites look almost identical to their appearances on the GameCube. The biggest changes with Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door were with its audio, as every single chapter now has their own battle music, and every single chapter has their own general usage of instruments and themes. Plants vs. Zombies Replanted couldn't even get the dynamic music right. Yeah, no, Replanted is full of all sorts of issues with its presentation, and it's the most damning part of the experience. Like, never mind the fact that there's a loading screen between almost everything that you do, like transitioning to a level, transitioning to Dave's shop, heck, there's even transitions with loading screens between the Zen Garden and the Tree of Wisdom. These are things that the original console editions and even the Nintendo DS version didn't have problems with. But for some reason, they're now here on a brand new version of the game released in 2025. You know what, maybe it's an issue of accessibility. After all, a lot of video games released in 2009 are no longer available today. If we look at Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, the last time that we went to Kanto was all the way back on the Nintendo DS in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and the last time we had a pure Kanto adventure was all the way back in 2004. Except that doesn't work because Plants vs. Zombies 1 is readily available on mobile, and the Game of the Year edition still exists. PopCap has spent a lot of marketing trying to frame Plants vs. Zombies Replanted as being the definitive way to play the first game, but it doesn't have any of the neat things that would have made it a good definitive edition. None of the console-exclusive minigames exist, none of the DS-exclusive minigames exist, none of the iPad minigames exist. At the very least, with the Ace Attorney trilogy, they included the DLC trials that you could go through. Here, you just have the base game. The only two things that really make this a definitive edition are the inclusion of both the Limbo page, which you don't even need to touch at all to complete the game, and the inclusion of Cloudy Day, which only has 12 levels associated with it. Rest in Peace mode also exists, but that's really just a New Game Plus, but without having Crazy Dave select your plans for you. And frankly, I would argue that the New Game Plus in Rest in Peace mode is worse than the standard New Game Plus mode. One of the things that made New Game Plus so enjoyable to play through in the original release of Plants vs. Zombies was Dave selecting your plants for you. That would allow you to use an opportunity to strategize and build around what he selected. Here, you're basically just given all free reign to pick what you want, so if you wanted to do the exact same strategy every single time, you could just do that. If anything, the fact that it doesn't have Crazy Dave selecting your plants makes it so much easier. Now, frankly, it's not all that surprising that Plants vs. Zombies Replanted ended up being such a mess at launch. Heck, even now, the team behind Plants vs. Zombies Replanted is still trying to clean up a lot of the mess that they were left with such a short 6-month time frame. For reference, the original release of Plants vs. Zombies back in 2009 had a 3.5-year development cycle. But if there is at least some consolation with it, the team behind Replanted's development does still show that they are caring about what they're making and wanting to make up for what was effectively one of the worst launches of a remake that could possibly happen. In fact, they're still adding new content with patch 1.5, including brand new versions of Survival Endless, including the day, the night, the fog, roof, and even a cloudy day Survival Endless mode too, which is significantly more than what was originally advertised and more that the original game didn't even have in itself. Would I still go as far as to say that Plants vs. Zombies Replanted is a definitive game? No. It is far from being definitive at this time, but it does show that there's at least a chance that Plants vs. Zombies Replanted in due time will be able to live up to what it truly should be. Electronic Arts may have screwed this team, but they're still kicking and fighting, and maybe one day, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted will truly be the game that it was supposed to be at launch.